us up, please.
You are up, Commissioner.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are now in session. Looks like the first item on our agenda is Commissioners' report and invoices. I reviewed the Commissioners' report and have all my questions answered. My pen won't work.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the invoices, commissioners' reports, and credit applications as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next we have payroll report. Any concerns? A motion?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the payroll report.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye. Aye.
That take you back?
Yeah, have been called that. Next we have alcohol licenses.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the alcohol licenses as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, Dan, come on up. This is not here yet, so.
Dan Kendall, Facilities Director. Had two items I was hoping you could help me with. First one was to reallocate some funds within the A budget for a cell phone stipend. I have an employee that would rather not pack around 2 telephones and would rather do the stipend method. Worked with Christy a little bit on that one and hoping to get that approved.
Go ahead.
So we did a reallocation from a line item that's vacant, just moved $480 down to the cell phone stipend because we only had one budgeted for. So if you approve that, then I'll give this to Nancy and do a resolution to formally.
Okay. So one number, 2 numbers, what's?
He'll just have his personal phone number be his work phone. And it kind of is how everyone is tending to go. They'd rather do the stipend than the pack around a county phone in one pocket and a personal phone in the other one. But.
Okay. Any concerns?
None.
Go ahead and let's move on that then.
Right. You want a motion on that?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the reallocation of funds as discussed.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The other one, I have an approved position for a pay grade 12. And then rather than hiring someone at a 12, I want the flexibility or the option to train an individual. So bring them in as an 8 and then work with them. And as they improve and learn what we're doing here, just have the flexibility to move them up as they grow. We tried the other route and it didn't work out, so I want to try this method, and I think that's going to be the best route for my department.
I think it's good. We've used that in a couple of other departments. I mean, as they progress, you have the opportunity to, I mean, it's budgeted for a higher rate, but the starting rate, I have no problem with that. Any concerns?
Nope.
All right, do it.
Okay? Thank you. Yes.
If you want, we can make a little written plan, like career development plan, that's what we've done on the other ones.
Okay.
So,
Let's do it. Okay.
catch up with me.
Okay. Thank you.
P and Z, come on up. I don't know what to call you now.
Elise Foster, subdivision planner.
And Jeffrey Williams, developer, I guess.
Will you state your address?
9585 South Franson Road, Lava Hot Springs.
Mr. Williams is proposing a road name change of Mornington Drive to Angeline's Way. Would you like to?
Yes, I am proposing that. My wife and I built this subdivision. It was approved 2.5 years ago approximately.
Didn't we approve this last week?
We didn't approve it. We did it as a workshop,
Oh.
and then went through the motions of what process you wanted to move forward with.
Okay.
I did
But deja vu.
I did wonder why I was appearing twice.
Yeah. Thought we basically said, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, so this is just the official meeting of doing the road name change. I did go through the ordinance. He did provide written approval from the 2 other landowners that adjoin that road. So there is no one else that currently owns any lots besides him, Mr. Williams, and those 2 other owners. Those were included in the packet. I did not find any duplication of names that he had proposed. So it meets all of the requirements for his name proposal.
Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Comments?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the name change as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commission.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming back and saying hello.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Dylan?
Good morning, Dylan Evans, landfill manager. Before you today, I have the task order for our scale house. It is, let's get to the page so I don't misquote it.
419.
Yep, 419,400 is the estimated expense for what they put on there. It also notes below that there's a 10% markup just in case anything weird goes on, and then they actually increased 4% for the yearly inflation rate. But that number is likely to be lower than that, especially depending on which contractor potentially gets the job. One thing that they put in here is the foundations for the building and the scale house are pretty particular. So they wanted to do rebar inspections and concrete inspections while they're being built and poured. But hopefully we will get a quality contractor and we'll be able to stage those concrete pours into less. So instead of doing up to 10, we're hoping to be able to do it in like 4 to 5. And that would help a bunch with the cost of the that bottom line. So that's something to be aware of.
Any questions?
No, I talked with Dylan about it a little bit yesterday and read through it. I'm okay.
John? Okay,
So, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the task order number 2 for Great Western Engineering as presented.
we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
All righty.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Well, looks like you're on schedule.
Yeah, as many of us know, last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of our employees and another employee from another entity here in town go and help with the hurricane relief efforts. And I visited with Karen on Monday, Monday was Karen, about it. And I thought that it would be very worthwhile for her and Emma, but Emma's sick today. And was it Parker that went? My man, Parker. I have a special attachment to Parker. He was one of my son's best friends growing up, so it's nice to see him doing good things in the community. Anyway, I invited Karen and Parker to come and share with us their experience with the hurricane relief and how that can help Bannock County and prepare Bannock County in the future. So I'd like to invite them up to share with us their experience.
We got lots of empty chairs. All of you can come on up.
I'm just listening.
Well, first off, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I look forward to hearing this report.
Thank you.
So introduce yourselves and
Okay,
Yeah, you go first.
my name is Karen Trumbull, and I'm with the Office of Emergency Management.
I'm Parker Williams, and I'm with Portneuf Medical Center and the Greater Idaho Healthcare Coalition.
We were both deployed on an EMAC, which is the Emergency Management Assistance Compact. It's been a lot in place for quite a while, and what it is when a natural disaster or any disaster happens and they claim it as a federal, they can request other states to send personnel that are that have skills, knowledge, and abilities and can assist in the disaster. That being said, go ahead, Park.
While we were there, Karen and I were both deployed as VALS, which is a voluntary agency liaison, to support the emergency support functions out of the Buncombe County, North Carolina Emergency Operations Center, which at the time was being assisted with by New York Fire Department and then subsequently the Texas Division of Emergency Management. So you're seeing a lot of assistance from these entities that are across the country. Karen and I were slotted with Emergency Support Function 17, which was identified as Volunteers and Donations Management, and that is where we functioned for the duration of our 2-week deployment.
I got there on Wednesday night. As soon as I was able to get to the EOC, they immediately assigned me to E.B. Ottersall, our lovely Buncombe County. She had been there, do you remember what she said she was? I think she's community development.
She was economic development, and she had been placed into this emergency
role.
support function role on a whim through the county. And then she actually had assigned some of her other county friends that helped with this emergency support function. So it was definitely an all-hands-on response to this hurricane, but E.B. Ottersall was our point of contact for this emergency support function. And through there, we were tasked to assist in any way that we could, and which I'll let Karen speak to what she got to do.
Yeah, as soon as I arrived and found her, I said, hey, I'm here to help you. And she almost cried. Like, I have help? They got me help? Like, it was great. So immediately she sent me to a mass care meeting, which was with FEMA, and how they were going to assist everyone. And that was, FEMA was getting the county and city set up to do shower stalls, restrooms, potable water, how to get signed up with FEMA for aid, Red Cross for aid, and they also had medical shelters. And they were also setting up pods, so points of dispersal. I like to say dispensation for some reason, but dispersal. And they had National Guard running that with food and water, so people could wash their clothes and take a shower and be clean for a little bit, and then drive through and load their cars with supplies and go back to wherever they were staying. So that was mass care, and so I quickly learned what was happening, and I came back for debriefing. And shortly after that, Evie's like, I've got an assignment for you. So I came back to her and she said, can you go run a 50,000 square foot donation warehouse tomorrow? And I'm like, I'm here for you, whatever you need. So the next morning I went out and met my next lead, Rachel Sawyer. She was fabulous. I told her about the debriefings the night before because they weren't receiving much information. And she's just like, oh my goodness, well, I'm headed in for meetings, just take care of it for the day. So I immediately had a debriefing. I had 8 staff and 100 volunteers for the day. So I was in charge of the warehouse, and it ran. It was awesome. That afternoon we did a debriefing. I went in to EOC, did some more mass care meetings. They needed towels. I'm like, I have towels. I work at a donation. I've got things. So I was able to immediately assist in meetings and what they needed. And that went on until the next night, Friday. Parker came in, and again, Evie's like, I got more help, and she was just so excited. And so she sat in with me Saturday, and Saturday was our craziest, busiest day. You know, dozens of semis coming in, dozens of semis going out. I had, at that day, we had 120 volunteers. It was crazy. We got our Army personnel by then, so we had 6 more assistants. And I remember at the end of the day, Parker's like, is it like this every day? And it was his first day. I was like, no, man, I'm so sorry. That was the worst. It's okay. So anyway, by the end of 1 week, they said, hey, can you close down the warehouse within 2 weeks? And I said, you know, I actually leave in a week. Can I close it by Sunday? That gave me 5 days. And they're like, if you can make it happen, do it. So Then some bets were made. EOC managers and Texas, they were like, I think Karen can do it. So sure enough, we put effort in, and I just kept having semis come and take our stuff to all the community partners. We filled up the Mana Food Bank. We filled up Sistas Kefa Sistas. We filled up, we filled up Goodwill with spare things, and we filled up the schools with all the water. So their warehouse wanted all the water they could have so they could start school again because there's no potable water there. So we filled up that. So we just went around and filled all the community partners, and then we had America Cares there, and they were happy to take as many semis as we could send them, and it just worked out. And then I got the warehouse closed by Sunday, and Sunday morning they called like, well, since you've got that one handled, can you come do the medical shelter? Can you come shut it down? I'm like, you guys, I'm busy. But I went and reviewed that, and they'd taken over the bottom of a college, so, and it was in every room. And the FEMA rep that was like, they said you could do this. And I'm like, I could, but this is what I'll need. And so the next day he had 22 Army and Air Force folks there. And with my team, I brought 4 of my Army guys and some trucks and pallets and Gaylords and boxes and all the stuff. And we got it done in 3 hours. We were able to clear it out. And the vice president and the president of the school came, and they're like, I said, can I leave 108 cases of water for you? And they're like, yeah, because we have to start school. I said, sounds like you need more. Do you want a few pallets of water? Because I can have it delivered today. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So my first truck of guys, I said, go empty and bring back water. And she was able to get a forklift and get it put out, and she was able to help her students. So it was great to be able to assist people. And when I came back, it was like, it's weird. It felt like a third world country just because they didn't have water and they didn't have power. And it hit me emotionally because my people coming to volunteer at my facility, you know, they didn't have water and they were starting to get power back. By the time we left, 0.08% of the population didn't have power, and it's because they were higher up in the mountains. So they've been working tirelessly. But the people that came to help me and to be at my warehouse, they were suffering too. So World Central Kitchen made 26,000 to 30,000 meals every day, and they delivered to us. So they delivered all over Buncombe County, and you just had to put your order in. So we had a standing order, and so I made sure my people had a hot meal, and I made sure they shopped, because it's all donations. It's for them too. They suffered too. So we made sure everybody took stuff home, and that they had a hot meal, and I just felt like that was important to take care of them too. So anyway, I thought it was fabulous. It was an amazing experience being able to work with FEMA and Texas Division of Emergency Management and all of our upline, all the people that absolutely supported us because we were there on an EMAC, and that it's a special thing. We didn't have to stay in the base camp, and base camp wasn't that bad. We were told it was cots in a tent, but they each had their own tin room. I guess that's better than a tent. So yeah, there was a base camp, but because we were on EMAC and we were specialized, they had to stay at the hotel. And we weren't supposed to brush our teeth with our water because it wasn't potable. They got us showers about 2 or 3 days in. They got water into the hotel so we could shower at least. But yeah, so all the restaurants were closed. There was nothing open. The grocery store, the main grocery store there is Ingles, and their main warehouse had been flooded and was gone, so the stores didn't have a lot of supplies. And people really appreciated that we were there to get this stuff back into the community.
And I would add, while Karen was being a rock star, I was also tasked with helping set up a volunteer reception center, and that was on behalf of Buncombe County, as well as United Way, which is a volunteer organization, and then Lutheran Disaster Response, which is a subset of a larger Lutheran disaster organization. But the goal of that was to help organize and mobilize volunteers to assist at many of these community care stations, point of distribution sites, obviously it's election season and they were having elections go on and they had to pivot and create new election or voting spots because previous ones had been destroyed. And so it was a unique challenge, but it was something that through our emergency support function, we set up a volunteer reception center with the help from FEMA, county employees, and then those non-governmental organizations, and helped just organize the outpouring support that that community received through, I mean, we had folks coming from the northern border by Canada and hauling, 10, 12 folks with them. They brought chainsaws and they're like, what can we do to help? And it's just trying to find spots for them. And that was the point of this reception center, along with an online platform that already existed through United Way of Asheville and Buncombe County. So that's what I was doing while Karen was,
Moving trucks.
moving trucks and clearing out these gigantic donation warehouses. But I think one of the biggest takeaways is just how much support can be found in these times of, mass destruction and chaos, and just how far and wide people come from to help these areas. And I think one thing that was a little lost is the organization that it takes and just the manpower that it takes to organize the volunteers that are coming through. And I can't tell you how many times I heard it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem that needs to be solved. And that is one of the things that we were tasked with trying to help resolve. So towards the end of my time there, the goal was to create some standard operating procedures moving forward if they were to open another volunteer reception center, and train county employees as well as United Way staff on how that would look and make it a more streamlined process moving forward. But I will echo what Karen said. It was an absolute amazing experience. I have never seen hurricane damage that close and that personal before, and it's definitely very eye-opening, and just the outpour of support that
Yeah.
the community received was phenomenal. and
Because
great.
at the donation site, they were calling in, people somehow got the cell phone number to the location, and I was getting calls from Texas and California, and they're like, listen, I'm coming with 4 semis, what do you want on them? And so I could request stuff specific, and then because I wrote everything down, I kept a spreadsheet of all the phone calls, so that, 5 days later, all of a sudden I'm closing, and I need to tell these people who are still coming where to go, where to take it, and I thankfully was able to do that. I had my staff help me, and we got a hold of everybody and just told them, listen, things have changed here, this is where you're headed. And they were all super thankful, and oh, by the way, it's now 7 trucks. And it's like, they had so much, people wanted to help so much that it was an amazing problem to have, but donations are the secondary disaster. And it was weird to be there and see house-sized piles of rubble on the side of the road, because those were homes. And the numbers came down to, the first debriefing I went to was 5,400 structures were destroyed, 450 bridges were destroyed, and then the number came to 448, but they rounded. And by the time I left, FEMA stated they had 2,000 people fully registered because their homes were fully destroyed. So it's very chaotic, and it's going to be years. I was trying to get Parker to take pictures. We passed some railroad where the rocks are all washed out, so the railroad is in suspension. It's there's just so much damage, it's hard to explain. And to see the buzzards circling and knowing they're still searching, it's just hard. And it feels like a third world country back there, because they've had to try to repair the roads to keep them safe enough so people can travel and bring in supplies. And but they do have, I think they have 16 customer care stations up and running, and they're going to be there for a very long time. And they have all the supplies there so that people can keep maintaining, though they don't have what they need. So
Just to kind of give a brief picture, but the I-40, which heads west into Tennessee to today, is still closed. You cannot travel towards
Yeah.
Tennessee from Asheville.
they
North
said it'll
Carolina.
be 8 months before that one, and then 18 months for the other freeway, 26. So freeways are closed for a long time.
So a couple of questions. So you're there for 2 weeks. How do they rotate? I mean, That's a lot of instruction for people over a 2-week period, every 2 weeks and stuff. So how do they rotate people in and out?
So I arrived on Wednesday. We had a bow out of Minnesota. She was Thursday and he was Friday. And then as we were leaving, fresh people were being rotated in for the 2-week period.
And
And
they're
they
all
just-
like you guys were,
Yeah, they're on
volunteers
EMAC, so
coming in
they're-
from different.
Yeah,
And-
they're trained.
And that's partially one of the strong suits of the EMAC, the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, is you can get folks from any assisting state in the U.S. and then they have a skill set to come fill a role that requesting state, and then you put them in the two-week timelines, and then it's 2 in or however many in, and then they rotate out. So you're generally not left with a huge gap or loss of personnel for an extended period.
And then the other volunteers, you said like could come in from the border and stuff with chainsaws and stuff. How were they organized? Were they just,
Those are self-deployed
Yes.
volunteers. So they were showing up, and that's why they needed the volunteer reception center, so that they could come and say, where can I go work? And they would have lists, and there would be places for them to go. Team Rubicon was there, United Way. I had them all written down somewhere, because I had a lot of United Way and Team
Yes.
Rubicon and Red Cross and
United Way.
Samaritan's Purse.
Mhm. But United Way played a very integral role for the community in the
Yeah.
fact that they had the capability, that they work with volunteers on a daily basis. That's part of what their organization does, or the main focus of their organization. So without something like that, it would have been very difficult to kind of
Do what they did.
and coordinate all of this volunteer activity. And by volunteer, I mean the spontaneous volunteers that are coming in from, outside counties, other states, and things like that. They really helped both the county and the city and the state with their efforts to coordinate these volunteers that came through.
Our United Way folks were amazing, because we had some that are on United Way staff, and they, like, one was my dock manager, Kevin was and then Erica came and worked with volunteers, so they were able to fill roles in that position. But when it came down to decision making, because I'd come as an EMAC, they left everything to me, so it was pretty crazy. But we'd definitely do it again.
good. Wes, comments?
No, I think they did a fabulous job. The biggest thing on these type of deployments is, like the very first one, it was a 2-day turnaround time. So they're rapid when the requests come in. And so when they're talking about emergency support functions, that's where we're grouping like services in the specific area. So ESF 1 through, say, 16, you'll have those specific entities in that ESF to perform those various functions that overlay with their role and responsibilities. Like all summer long, I was sending you guys updates from ESF 8, which is public health.
Mhm.
And so you got a fire ESF, you have an emergency management ESF, and it goes down through there. So they'll pull those resources to do the things that they need to do. And it's through the ICS structure and the coordination of NIMS, so it's across the entire nation. So what we do is we follow that template, so we all have the same skill sets through the qualification standards to perform this type of a function. And then when the calls come in, that's where we can pull staff from our emergency response organization. And so, and Parker, he's going to be Parker and Ryan as well be part of the logistics branch in the EOC. And Karen does the planning and operations. So they're pulling those similar functions to go do the things that they need to do. And they perform marvelously.
Good. Well, thank you. Anything from the state?
Yes, a great big thank you for partnerships. Partnerships based on years of relationships. Parker and I have known each other for a while. We went to school together with ISU. I know Karen for a while, and then Wes, he always says he wrote the first thing with Ben Franklin or something, but I haven't been around that long, but he showed me one of the first drafts. So it's all about partnerships, and a great thank you. So you get to see the whole thing come together on a national level. If you've taken a 402 class from me, all that stuff, that's what we just did for the last 2 weeks. And if you talk levels of support, you get your first responders at state, and then everybody in this room is at 5 or 6 level of support. So when you're wondering, why do we have this extra angst or this extra duty? Well, you're helping those folks that 2,000 people without a house, all of that comes together to like 5th or 6th level support. So, and that comes back when we have ours. So she's talking about I-40 being out for 6 or 7 months in 1997. I don't know how long I-15 was out, but we were in the same boat, and that stuff kind of comes around every few years, and if it comes back, then we've been out helping people, and they'll come back to help us. It's just a big circle of human love. So thank you from the state to the county and PMC, Ardent, for their assistance there. Worked out great. And this is one of the first times we've gone through without fire. We know how to do fire on EMAC, but the other support items like this a little bit new to us. So we're making our way through that also at the state level. So thank you for all that coordination and support and partnership.
Just for the record, Emma, and also, she just returned, and she said it was quite a learning experience herself, and just invaluable, the things that she learned. And we hate to have the disasters happen, but we're grateful that we have individuals that can go and help and support. Commissioner Huff?
John, do you
John?
have anything?
I'd just reiterate what Commissioner Moser said. I mean, I appreciate you guys going out and doing that. I'm glad that we have an opportunity to help others in our nation when they face these kinds of emergencies. And I know you're absolutely right. Someday we'll have an emergency and we'll need that help. And it'll be good, beyond having that help, to have people here that have been through it, understand it, and can take leadership roles if we ever encounter that. So I appreciate all you guys have done.
Thank you.
One of the things that we like to do when we have employees and community members that do something special is we've created some coins, some commissioner coins. And so today we'd like to award both of you with a commissioner coin for going above and beyond.
Thank you.
So come on up.
And we want some pictures. Emma's not here.
Let's slide the computer anywhere. Here, let's put this in that way. Oops, sorry.
Should thank you for this.
So on behalf of Bannock County, thank you.
Thank you.
And you. Bradley,
Thank you.
on behalf of Bannock County, thank you. I'll give you a hug too, Chris.
Thanks, Ben.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
I'm a
appreciate
hugger
it.
too.
John, are you a hugger now?
We like each other.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thanks. Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioners, appreciate it.
Yes, there's only one of mine now.
Is that a?
Well, thank you. Thanks for distributing the coins too. All right. Christie.
Chris Claus, Comptroller. First item I have for the board is the certified levies for 2024, which is FY25. We submitted those to the state. I waited to have you certify them until they were actually complete and final, so that I didn't have to bring them back before you. So these are the final levies for FY25.
Okay.
Any questions?
Come on.
No, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept and approve the levies as presented.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next item I have for the board is a review of September 30 budget to actual revenues and expenditures. I can go high level on those items. They're not final. I won't have final expenditures until, I was hoping, middle of November. That that date's probably moved to at least December. But high-level overview, we met revenue in all but 4 funds. Indigent, we only met revenue at 84%. That's due to some state money not coming in. We still had sufficient reserves to cover everything that we spent. Parks and Rec was at 85%. Waterways came in $2,600 short. But that's fine because it's just a guess anyways on Waterways, and we only spend what we basically have come in with reserves. Bannock County events, we didn't make revenue on that one, but that was the enterprise fund where we're paying for concerts out of. We also haven't spent nearly what we budgeted for in expenditures. And that one, we were just trying to get a guess because we don't have a lot of historical information to be able to set good numbers, in my opinion, on that one yet. Plus, we changed gears and didn't pay for the concerts outright. We just did the split with Niederlander. So as far as expenditures, IT went over budget by $1,610. And in all of these, we have sufficient reserves or excess revenues to cover these. So I'll preface that. Fair went over in salaries by $310 and $184 in benefits. We've already discussed that issue, and that will hopefully be rectified next year. Also, Office of Conflict went over by $2,414 in operating. We have plenty of salary and benefits to cover that. Those were just the conflict attorneys and the contracts we have there. Waterways went over by $2,648. We have reserves to cover that, but we actually had a project that we used those money for this year as opposed to donating it to other counties. So that was actually a good use of funds.
Yay.
911 went over by $16,589 in operating. We have reserves to cover that, so we're finding those. Those are preliminary. Those are subject to change when I do accruals and year-end entries, so just keep that in mind.
Questions?
911, that's the dispatch.
Not dispatch, that's the 911 communication.
Yeah, okay, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason I want to clarify it's just not dispatch is because when we have to do the wonderful transparency report, for some reason they have dispatch included in that, and that's an item that we're trying to work through with them.
Yeah, no, I remembered that when you said that, so thank you for clarifying.
Anything, John? Nope. Thank you, that's a lot of work. I know, but great report. Okay, next we have Jennifer Clark, letters of cancellation. Any questions on them?
Nope, Mr. Chair, I move that we accept or approve the letters of cancellation as requested.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And this is the updated Wolfley report? Okay,
Hopefully engagement letter.
okay.
Fred made the changes that we had discussed. Again, dollar amount stayed the same. He did add on the final page that they plan to draft the financial statements. We will compare those with our financial statements and make sure they're true and accurate. But if we have any last minute changes, using their system allows it to funnel through easier, whereas in our system, we have to manually do that. So that was the benefit of going to them. And then also they added a paragraph where they will prepare the leases and lease-related disclosures that I utilize for the financials, and they took out the reference to the depreciation.
Okay. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I move that we sign the Whitley contract as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And real quick, Commissioner Moser, will you do the DocuSign on that?
Yes, I will. It's when I go back down.
Thank you.
I'll do that. I got 3 notices, I think, in the last 2 days. Behind on.
Do we need to authorize electronic signature on that, or is just the signature okay?
I think you authorized the signature, so does it need clarified that it's through DocuSign?
I don't think so. If you've authorized the
Okay.
signature, I think that'll be okay.
We just signed a hard copy, so.
All right, just wanted to make sure.
All right, with that being said, happy Halloween. And